Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another installment of my comedy buddies. Sitting here with Matt Andrew, all the way from Vegas. I should probably quit playing with the microphone. How long did it take? Did you drive?
I did, yeah. I'm in an RV. And,
Oh, wow.
I drove out. I went past here to Austin and hit a couple mics there, and then came back up here last night.
Okay, nice. How long's the drive from Vegas to out here?
Per GPS, it was 19 hours of driving. It took me about 3 days.
Wow. Okay. Well, you just stopped. You stopped. You took your time.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do all 19 hours straight yet.
Yeah. Yeah. How long you been doing comedy?
About 4 years off and on. I started in 2019,
Okay.
and I had a couple breaks there. We all had that pandemic break.
Yeah.
But I also moved to. I started in Washington D.C. And at the time I was working for the U.S. Department of State as a day job.
Okay.
And but then I moved to Namibia in Africa.
Oh, wow.
And the pandemic hit late there, and comedy. There wasn't a lot of comedy at the time, so.
Yeah.
I messed around with Zoom a little bit, but that was a comedy hiatus for a couple years there.
Right. Yeah. But you started while you were in D.C.
True.
Yeah. Big scene there?
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
relatively. Yeah, I think it was a good. I mean, it's a pretty big city, and it was.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. Yeah.
I know there's a lot of great comics that come from that area, but I didn't know how good the scene was there as far as being able to get on and.
Yeah, I've been to a few places, and I found it supportive, and there was a decent amount of mics, and
Yeah.
I think I was hitting one pretty much every day, so at least one every day, so that's
There you go.
relatively good, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's I live where I live. There are no mics, so it's a hour and a half drive. I can go to Oklahoma City.
Where do you live?
I live there's a town called Lawton, Oklahoma, which nobody knows of. But it's about an hour and a half from Oklahoma City, or I can drive 3 hours south and go to Dallas, which both of those have pretty good, mic scenes and stuff. But I stay busy enough that I don't do open mics very much. But when I do want to, and like whenever I've got time off and I still need to work some stuff out,
Right.
like it's at least an hour and a half. And I hate putting that many miles to go someplace to get to do 4 minutes or get to do 5 minutes. I'm like, oh man, I hate driving that far for
No, I feel
not being able to work out very much.
Right.
If I could go and work out 10 minutes worth of something, that's a whole lot better. But I'm also a long form joke teller. Like I'm more of a storyteller. So
Of course, when you're starting, you don't have a choice, so
Right.
I mean, that's
yeah, you just
that's it.
get on what you can, do what you can. The mic scene, I visited with BG. I don't know if you know BG or have met him yet. He's here. And that's what we were talking about is I'm glad that the comedy scene has started to grow so much that there's more opportunity for people to at least try it. And then more opportunity in turn for people to be able to work stuff out. So I'm glad that the scene has grown nationwide, really. But there's still people in places that they're having to travel to even get any stage time.
Yeah, I think. I've been really lucky that I've been in. My job took me to big cities, and so there
Right.
were decent scenes in both of them. And with the exception of Namibia, between I was in D.C. and then Vegas, and Vegas has a thriving
Yeah.
scene with actual audience and multiple mics per night, most nights.
Yeah.
I can't. I'll go on and on about.
Yeah.
about the
So but in Vegas, like when you're getting on at mics there, you've got good audiences also.
Not always good, but always.
Always. And audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've heard it called an ambush show, so it's like they're not always there to see the comedy, but
Right.
there's almost always there's people there that are not comics.
Right.
And so you have to grab them,
Yeah.
but there are almost always people there.
That's the rough thing about places like Dallas. A lot of their open mics, there'll be 80 people in the club or bar or wherever they're having it. They're all comics.
Right.
So none of them are paying attention, and you just kind of feel like you're talking you may as well be talking to an empty room.
They've heard your act before.
Yeah.
And so it's. It's good and bad.
Yeah.
I think that can really help your stagecraft. In Vegas, they're not there to see you. They didn't want to see a comedy show sometimes. They're there to talk to their friends or
Yeah.
to play video poker or just get drunk or whatever. And so if you want to grab them, you have to do so with your stagecraft and with
Yeah.
and so it really accelerates your learning process, and so I think that's very helpful.
Forces you to do good,
Right.
or you just don't.
I mean, you could do anyway. Yeah, it's a good gym to to work out and
for sure.
get better.
I like that. I like that the way that you're looking at that. Which with a lot of people I've talked to them about sometimes the things that you don't want to do or the things that are going to work best for you. Sometimes you wind up on a show where the audience winds up not being ideal, and it might feel like it sucks at the time, but you did learn something from it.
Oh yeah, no, for
Yeah,
sure.
you did
That's the only
learn.
way a dummy like me does learn is through the hard lessons.
Yeah, I don't learn unless I get knocked in the head.
Well, yeah, yes, I had a really great kind of epiphany the other day. A few months ago, I was driving home and I was having that. That you probably had this experience too. You after an act, why didn't I do this, or I forgot
Yeah.
this tag, and I realized that's, especially at my stage, that's how I get paid.
Yeah.
Is when I have these moments, I'll do that the next time. That's my pay, is that lesson. And that it wasn't for that act, that the one I just did. That's for the next one.
Yeah.
And that's learning. That's how I learn. And so that's a good thing that happened to me just now, is that I screwed that up.
Yeah.
And I'll do it better the next time. And so these things, it hurts in the moment, that drive
Yeah.
home, but the next time I'm going to get it right.
Yeah.
And I'll get it right the next 15 times. And so that's improvement. And it stinks in the moment, but I have a lot of those moments when you're driving home. You're like, stupid.
Yeah.
But that's the process, and it's a good thing.
I agree, and I think if more people would understand that, instead of just being mad about whatever they messed up on or the way something went, go, okay, but what did I get from it?
Well, and in the meta, that's kind of part of the process too. Is you're starting to figure out this thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
It's starting to learn. Oh, that's how these lessons work.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. If I put this joke before that joke, I get their attention
Well,
so that they can
not just that,
understand
but
that.
also saying, oh, you learn lessons by screwing up. Like starting to figure out this big picture of like, oh,
Right.
this is how this whole thing works. Is that
Right.
the screw ups are lessons.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff like that too.
Yeah, man, it takes a while to learn that, to figure that out.
So, there's probably lessons that 15 years now. Matt is going to say, "Oh, you're stupid. You didn't think that."
Yeah, yeah. But I do think. How did you hear about the festival?
Gosh, I'm kind of in a stage now where I'm shotgunning a lot of applications out to a lot of festivals.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could tell you. It might have been. I don't know if you guys were on thereitispod.com or one of those, but I was looking at a lot of different sites that
You were looking for festivals.
amalgamate a lot of different festivals.
Okay, yeah. Well, this is our first one.
Yeah, no, I know.
And like my Peacock Comedy, we've been talking about doing a festival for a long time. We were looking at all these different places that we thought, oh, this looks great. But we were only seeing the bright and shiny parts of everything. And then we got invited to come do a show here in the saloon part of this Old West town. And after the show, I was sitting and I was just looking. I was like, man, that could be a stage and that's a stage. I think that this could be something really cool. So I talked to the owner and I was like, hey, what did you think about doing this? And she's originally from Austin. So she's like, I'd love to do something big comedy here. And we decided to put it in motion. The only thing I wish we would have done is planned it for a year out instead of 6 months out. So it didn't feel like we were been kicking ourselves in the ass for 6 months, just going get it done.
That's
So
better, I think.
as we go, we got here yesterday and going ahead and started getting stuff set up, and we were like, okay, next time we should have this and this and this. So we're already learning stuff, but I think that it's going to be a good time. And what I've encouraged everybody so far, I say, if nothing else, if you don't get anything else from this, network with all the other comics who are going to be here. You're from Vegas. We've already had somebody show up from New York, California, Washington, Louisiana, Florida. I mean, there's comics from all over. So network, exchange information with everybody, start trying to open those two-way streets of, hey, you get me something out your way, I'll get you something out my way, and making those things happen. And I think that that's the most valuable thing out of all of these.
Listen, I'm going to be funny as shit tonight.
Yeah.
So I hope you'll have me back next year when you do your
Yeah,
second annual.
fucking deal. Fucking deal. All right, guys. Hey, Matt, thanks for sitting down and visiting with me, and we'll be getting a bunch more of these out. Thanks, guys.